2024 draws to a close. It's been a dynamic year in Nigeria's political landscape, hasn't it? Marked by pivotal events, critical policy shifts, and also the ever-evolving interactions between the government and the citizens. From key electoral decisions to legislative milestones and rising civic movements, this year has left an indelible mark on Nigeria's democratic journey.
I'm sure it has. And so to help us unpack these developments, we're joined by Mark Adebayo, who's the national spokesperson for the Coalition of United Political Parties. Mark, we want to say thank you so much for joining us and thank you for coming on. Also joining us is Senior Advocate of Nigeria, none other than Sam Kago. Sir, we want to say thank you as well for coming on. Thank you for doing this with us. And season's greetings to both of you.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you for having comprehensive compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season to you.
Thank you.
Let me start off with you, Mark, and let's talk broadly about 2024. How would you describe the year in context of Nigeria's political landscape? I mean, what stood out for you as a defining political moment of this year?
Hardly could we point at anything as a defining moment for the Nigerian political space, but it's a potpourri of political, connections and disconnect and the rest of that for both the party in power and the opposition itself. But there are two major events that one could remember that did not serve our democracy well enough. Those were the Edo and Ondo State governorship elections that we believe at the level of opposition that they were heavily compromised. So those are major political matters in terms of election, off-cycle elections in the country. All manner of things happened. The issue of tax, the new tax regime, and the rest of that, the controversy surrounding it, and the contradictions about it, and everything. And of course, the continuation of the atrocious economic policies of the current government, which is doing nobody any good. The businesses are still suffering, the people are still hungry, and the rest of that. So those are the major things about 2024, politically speaking. Nothing so much exciting. Just like our democracy is not improving at the level one would have expected it to move. Considering our experiences in the First and Second Republics. This is the Third Republic. Some people call it Fourth Republic, but I can't remember when we had the Third Republic other than this, because you cannot put a military jackboot government under a republic, under a Babangida. No, this will be the Third Republic, strictly speaking, for me. That's it. So 2024 doesn't really have anything to be excited about, politically speaking.
Oh, Mr. Adebayo, may I add one more factor into that mix that you gave, that potpourri that you spoke about? Let's talk about democracy inside of 2024. Did it regress? And I'm asking because inside of 2024, we saw a number of protests, people speaking up for themselves, telling that this is not what they bargained for when they initially were voting in this present administration. We also have a leader, a president, who himself back in the day was very, very advocative when it came to protests as well. So we found out that we had a different kind of anatomy when it came to how the government was attending to dissent or protest. We also saw and are still seeing instances where people argue that the press is being suppressed. Do you think that democracy in Nigeria in 2024 took a step backward, or did it get better?
Well, it took like 100 steps backward, if you ask me, because in the area of the people, in the area of advocacy, it is it's a reawakening of the Nigerian people, trying to claim their space. It started in 2023 with the more or less a revolutionary political movement towards something different than what we have been having. So at least 2023, Nigerians arose and wanted a genuine change, politically speaking, which they were robbed of at any rate. But the area of the civil society waking up, of the Nigerian people, the psyche of the Nigerian people awakening from past lethargic non-commitment to what happens in their country. It's kudos to the Nigerian mentality. But also the media suffered, both social and traditional media suffered because the current government deliberately attempted to to stifle the voice of dissent. But Nigeria, the Nigerian spirit, is indomitable. The Nigerian spirit is something that you cannot kill, you cannot destroy. That is what, we need more of that. In 2024, starting from 2023, the Nigerian awareness, political awareness, social political awareness, became a little bit revolutionized. Hopefully, that will be brought to bear in the next cycle of elections 2027. But if there's anything exciting about us, socio-politically speaking, it's about the consciousness of Nigeria, the awakening of the Nigerian consciousness to demand from their government what they're supposed to give. Yeah, the president was an activist. The president was a pro-democracy activist. But now, sitting comfortably in Aso Rock, he doesn't want anybody to criticize him. He doesn't want anybody to criticize his government. He doesn't want anybody to criticize his policy. So there are people now who are in detention because they are of the comments they have made on social media or they have made in interviews like this. So there's an attempt, to stifle dissent. There's an attempt to put the opposition in disarray. There's an attempt to wind back our democracy from its trajectory of development to something else that may not over well for our democracy and for our society. So the president was an activist, but now he's as a politician sitting as president, it doesn't want that to happen. I'm not an advocate for a misuse or mismanagement of social media space for irresponsible comments and unpatriotic comments. But when people criticize objectively your policies, your economic policies that are so atrocious and causing hunger and anger in the land and causing, retrogression, economically speaking, in the land, people are free to speak in a democracy. This is a democracy, this is not military jackpot. So the earlier the president learned that and called all the security agencies that have been overzealous to order, the better for our democracy, the better for our progress, the better for the justice in the land. Because without justice, democracy cannot survive.
Right. Now, Mr. Sam, let me drag you into this conversation. I know you're here for judicial matters, which we're going to get into during the course of the conversation. But one of the arguments about the judiciary this year was autonomy. We saw the judiciary make strides with the second female now leading the judiciary. That's none other than Mrs. Kekereekun, her lordship. But I would also like to talk about autonomy when it comes to the other tiers of government. In this case, the legislative, and that is the House of Assembly and the House of Representatives. There have been argument after argument, and critics have raised alarm about how the complacency of the President of the National Assembly, and also the Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, and Akpabio. What do you think of those critiques of these two figureheads?
The National Assembly is independent, and if there is anything you want to really talk about is their connivance, or perhaps that part of them that surrenders this enormous power that they have to actually contain the excesses and perhaps the whims of the president. What we have seen is a kind of a National Assembly that believes that it is an arm of the presidency and that it is there to actually act for and on behalf of the president. That, to me, is worrisome because, let's face it, the president is never a democratic institution. The president is an imperial office, an office that has the capacity to actually muzzle your own person and liberties. The only representative body among the three tiers of government is the legislative body. That is the one that is supposed to act as a buffer between the citizens and the whims or perhaps the capacity of the presidency to go outside the realms of its own powers. When you have a conniving National Assembly as we are having it, there is always the tendency for the president to think that all is well because, hey, there is nobody to check it. The judiciary cannot check the presidency because what? The judiciary cannot act on its own. It is only when cases are taken before it that it can act. The only body that is supposed to have a 24-hour surveillance and oversight over the presidency or the executive arm is the National Assembly. And for me, yes, it's good to have that good working relationship, but the essence of separation of powers is to ensure that no one arm can what? Subdue the two arms, the two other arms, or no two arms can by themselves collaborate to make what? Right. Subdue the other. That's the essence of what? Separation of powers.
Right. Mr. Kabo, then it begs to ask a question, because you paint a very, 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 very important picture there, which is that the legislative serves as a buffer between the people and the presidency, meaning that they are the representation of the people. But have they made any sort of impact, important impact, powerful impact, positive impact on the people that they represent in this year?
It's difficult to say because, you see, there has to be that kind of a very critical interface between those two arms of government. The idea of the presidency coming overnight and throwing policies at us without the input of the National Assembly is, to my mind, very worrisome. And the reason is simple. The presidency knows that whatever it throws at them is a free flow. The National Assembly is actually not acting as a kind of an oversight or a check on the presidency. So the inputs that they are supposed to give quality to governance is what they have abdicated. That is my own worry. As to the other aspect of it, making laws, yes. Yeah, we have this supermarket mentality. You make laws every day. There are so many laws that you feel no other country is as overlord, if that's the word, as Nigeria. But yet, what do we have out there? People are suffering, liberties are being trampled upon, the agencies of government are acting in silence and acting as if what? They are at large. The police, oh my Lord, they act as if what? They are a lot of the manners, nobody to check them. And this is where I have my worry. Because you cannot do it, and that is why you have your representatives. They are the people who are representing you in the governance structure and system. All of us cannot go and converge to control or manage our own public affairs. We have actually mandated our representative to go and represent. It's not just about making laws. The power to make law is secondary to what? The functions and purpose of the National Assembly. Like I'm saying, the National Assembly is the only democratic institution out of the three arms of government. I repeat, that is the only democratic institution. The presidency, executive, the world over, no matter what name you give it, it is never a democratic institution. Because what? It is not representing you. What it is saying is that give me this tenor, give me this time, I will do this for you. And that is the contract that you have. And how do you make sure that it acts to type and within that mandate you have given to it, if you don't have what? An active National Assembly or Parliament or legislature? Once that is not there, what you have, your relationship with the executive is that of grace. The presidency or the executive becomes what? A benevolent ruler, because it can do and undo without any hindrance. And that is my fear.
Mr. Adebayo, I'm going to come to you, but I while we're with Mr. Sam Kagbo here, I would like to jump into matters of the judiciary for a minute. Now, Mr. Sam Kagbo, you referred to the National Assembly as the concern that we should be concerned about is the connivance of the National Assembly. But do you think that concept or term can be used as well for the Nigerian judiciary? I ask because in 2024, we saw a situation where people argued that there's certain incentive giving back and forth between the government and the judiciary that could be construed as, you know, some sort of mechanism for state capture. We also saw situations where political candidates, aggrieved ones, went to the judiciary, but people complain or suggest that the manipulation of the judiciary caused very disaffectionate results from that. We also saw the judiciary play in the emirship tussle in Kano State. Back and forth, different levels of the judiciary giving different results here and there. Would you say that there is a connivance of sort with the government when it comes to the judiciary?
Every minute, conflict and disaster forces 20 people to flee their homes, with only seconds to make these impossible.
The arms of government, the judiciary, to me, have done better than the others. Perhaps much of the complaints we have, or perhaps the criticism that we have at the judiciary, is because we do not understand our functions and how they perform their functions within the judicial system. The judiciary does not activate or initiate any process. It is there waiting for litigants. It is there waiting for what? Disputants. It is there waiting for people who have concerns about what their fellow citizens or institutions of government have done to them or that are doing. That is what they do. When they come, if you take the right cases to them, they will do their job. Look at the case of the independence of the local government councils. When the Attorney General instituted the action, some of us thought that, oh, this cannot be, because what? The sections of the Constitution do not allow for what he was asking for. But we, as at that point, did not take into consideration the fact that the judiciary gives life and meaning to the raw letters of the Constitution. And in the interest of Nigeria and democracy, what did it do? Its pronouncement, to me, if they are actually followed up by the Attorney General, in no time we should have what? A functioning and independent local government system, because that is the base and foundation of democracy. That is actually the engine of development. If we do not have democracy at that level, what do you have? That gap would be taken over by terrorists. That gap will be taken over by bandits. And that is the reason why we are where we are. Because what? The governance system at that level is not working. The judiciary has done its part. It has given meaning to it and strengthened them to say, hey, this is what it should be. You are independent financially and administratively. It has given that meaning. It's done its job. Look at the issues that it has also resolved. Before now, nobody could think that the judiciary can make the pronouncement it made in as regards the conflict between who should control the national lottery in Nigeria. Before now, what we have is what? The National Lottery Commission. But the Supreme Court said, no, that should be for the state. It has done its job. When there is a conflict on waterways, what did it do? It gives meaning to it and say, oh no, that's for the National Assembly. So to me, what we should be thinking about is for us as citizens to take the right cases to the judiciary. And if you indeed you take the right cases to them and you marshal your case very well, they will always give you your judgment.
Mr. Kagbo,
much of the time, especially for political cases, we want judgment without working for it.
Now, Mr.
Judicial cases, to me, I can never use them to judge the judiciary because you know why? most of the time it's the litigants themselves that are the problem, and not the system itself.
Mr. Kagbo, I'd like to bring in Mr. Adebayo here. Mr. Adebayo, do you agree with Mr. Kagbo's submission here regarding the judiciary? Have they done well so far, especially when it comes to cases of aggrieved political candidates and also matters of chieftaincy like we saw in Kano? Have they been absolutely autonomous, do you think, Mr. Adebayo?
Let's remove the word absolutely. I mean, definitely, our judiciary has a lot of questions to answer. Considering a lot of contradictory judgments that we have had. Well, I agree with the last speaker that sometimes the litigants, do not marshal their points well, and because courts are not given to sentiments anyway, no matter how you look at it. But they have been extremely, there have been instances where the judiciary, somebody who came fourth in an election was now declared the winner at in the court. So that's there. And then even the Supreme Court has been called to question. So many of his decisions are now under serious questions as to how the scales of justice are balanced in those judgments, in those pronouncements. They are not very good. I will not agree that the judiciary has been above board. There have been very, very many suspicious cases that Nigerians are not comfortable with because we don't peddle rumor, but things are sometimes where some cases are so clear, like crystal clear, that but you are surprised as to what really happened behind the scenes. So the Nigerian judiciary needs to be investigated. The Nigerian judiciary needs to be reassessed. The Nigerian judiciary needs to be overhauled. You see, the judiciary is supposed to be independent, absolutely independent of both of the two other arms of government, both the executive and the legislature. But both the legislature, the independence and the neutrality of both the legislature and the judiciary is just an optical illusion. It has no bearing whatsoever with reality. From the way things are going, from the way we are saying things. And that is why we are saying that, we are advocating that before the swearing of any president or governor, let all cases regarding his election be resolved first. Because once they sit in that government house, to remove them is like trying to use Kake Marwa to remove Olumoro. That's how it's because you have the president who appoints the INEC chairman, who appoints the chief justice of the federation, who appoints everybody along the line, and that is why, like, the Nigerian presidency is probably the most powerful in the world because. I agree with Africa that it is not a democratic institution itself. Yes, election does the fact that you are elected into once you have become president, if you don't have that blood of democracy in you, you become an autocrat. And that is what we are witnessing in the Nigerian context today. So I will not say that the judiciary has not done well, but I think they can do better. I think the judiciary can do better. I think they must attack their independence. We do know that the National Assembly is like more or less like an obnoxious rubber stamp. How do you have the leader of the National Assembly that says that whatsoever the president brings, they will pass? And that is why we are running into trillions upon trillions of naira worth of debt, because once the president asks for borrowing window, they give him, they are giving him almost everything. That is why about 45% the budget deficit of this year is going to be funded through borrowing. There's no creativity, there's nothing else on the box on how to improve the economy. All we hearing is borrowing. Our National Assembly is agreeing and conceding and there is no National Assembly that can help Nigeria and Nigerians. Sincerely.
Mr. Adebayo, I mean, you remind me of an argument of where they say that the governors and the politicians like to use the courts as their battleground, and just with your submission, it's really it toes the same line of that argument. But let me also ask you something. You said that even though the president is voted in, when they get in, they have the power to become an autocrat, and we are steering towards that direction with the last year and with the President Bola Tinubu's administration. So I have to ask you then about governance and transparency. accountability and transparency. Have we fared well in this administration? And what have been the challenges of ensuring governance, accountability, and transparency for 2024?
Well, transparency. I mean, we have never been more opaque, in the political position of Nigeria when it comes to transparency. In terms of accountability, is that was I scored this administration extremely low, maybe like maybe 10%, or even lesser, because when an accountable government will want to conduct its affairs within the economic realities of the time. But this is the time that our president has decided to go and buy a 150 billion naira worth of a presidential jet. And we still have the other 4 or 5 there in the fleet of the president. And then he went and bought one car for 1 billion, in the presidential, So how do you, that's not, as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, that's not an accountable government. And of course,
Hey, did you know that SMUD is now paying Sacramento homeowners thousands of dollars upfront to put a backup battery?
Accountability also means that you act in consonance with the wishes and aspirations of the people, which I've not seen this government doing. Let me give you one instance. The issue of which the president has continued to justify, the issue of the subsidy removal, which unfortunately has continued to justify. Maybe the removal of subsidy was necessary, but nobody removes subsidy without having prepared and planned, without having made plans to cushion the effects of the sudden precipitate subsidy removal. Even when the subsidy regime had not run its course, because it was supposed to run out in June, but the president removed it in May. So that's another problem. There's no accountability there, and in the area of providing succor for the people this year, I've not seen the government doing anything at all. That is why you saw private individuals and private organizations now trying to fill the gap by organizing themselves and bringing people together. Unfortunately, those ones are now, ending fatally, in a fatalistic manner. Unfortunately, people are dying and so on. But, they were trying, making their own efforts, individual and private efforts to fill the gap that the government has abandoned. And see what is happening, because the organization wasn't there, but they meant well. They meant well, because the government has gone to sleep in the area of taking care of the needs of the people. So in terms of accountability, it is not there. There are cases and allegations of corruption here and there, left, right, and center, that are not being properly addressed. The issue, look, this government doesn't have any robust housing plan, if they have anything at all. But then they are busy pulling down houses all over the place, especially in Abuja. And the government said, "Oh, the minister is clapping for his minister that is doing well, doing well, even with people with CFO and the rest of that." So there's no accountability. There's a lot of opaqueness. There's no transparency.
Mr. Adebayo, to make a case for the government, to make progress, one has to, something's got to give.
Oh, come on, Judith.
I'm sorry, I have to be fair now. That's the perks of the bait.
Tear it down and build it back again. How fast, though? But gentlemen, Mr. Mark Adebayo and also Mr. Sam Kagbo, want to say thank you very much for joining us in this segment. You have given your expert opinion, and we must say that we have enjoyed this conversation on our very last show for 2024, as we look forward to
Well, hello, everyone. Greetings to you. So I wanted us to do a quick recap on the year 2024 regarding the Nigerian politics, what it has done, what impact it has had on us as a people, So this is the reason why I am doing this. I just want us to do a quick recap of what has happened 2024. I actually made a list for myself. I actually got it somewhere. Somebody sent me something and I was able to just take down whatever the person, because that's exact. I didn't want to forget everything. 2024 Nigerian election has been wrought with a lot of difficulty in 2024. 2024 has not been a good year in Nigeria as a whole. Okay. Were there wins? Maybe in the area of music, I guess, movies, Nigerian movies have done very well. Nigerian artists, musicians have done very well. And maybe those are the only areas I can think about that I can point to and say, yes, we won in this area. And maybe the sportsmen and women in Nigeria too, kudos to them. They've done very well. At least they've done their part to, elevate Nigeria in the best way they can. But with regards to politics itself, fuel prices went up. Okay, it doubled. So after this man was sworn in, it went up to 400. So the people that came to his inauguration on a cheaper fuel price left. When they were leaving, they had to buy fuel 400 naira. Naira completely eroded, lost its value. Okay, food, goods price skyrocketed. It now became only those who could afford it could actually buy food. A lot of companies left Nigeria. A lot of investors, they carried their kaya and they left Nigeria. We lost a lot of investors. The government spent millions, billions on buying a new jet, building a new house for the vice president, doing more house renovations. Okay, now these are the ones that we know. There'll be unspoken expenses that we will not be privy to. Okay, help for the poor, zero. They say they're gonna send money. How much was it? I can't remember. Send money to how many families? Maybe less than a handful received that money. Right? The rest went into the pocket of one person, as you know. Protests, August protests. I think, yeah, that one was kind of effective because people were coming out talking about the protests. You started seeing all the politicians running, the airports were filling up and all of that, right? The grid was shut. I think that was when also the National Association of Workers or whatever, they came out and they shut down the grid, they were complaining and all of that. But did it last? No. Then they started picking up protesters. So if you protest, they pick you up straight up. You're gone. Nobody will know where you are. Okay? There was a lot of that happened in 2023. The government, extremely unorganized, disorganized from top to bottom. They don't have a clue what they're doing. It's so easy to see. They're just ramming through everything. They're just doing trial and error. We have visionless people who don't have any idea what they're doing. We're being led by blind people. And I have to say, Nigerians are a huge disappointment. We have some of the most talented, smartest people in the world that's making the economies of other countries thrive in every way possible, right? But when it comes to their own, they can't do jack. Okay? Now we speak English pass. Now we speak all the grammar pass. Now we know all the book pass. But when it comes to our own, we don't know jack. We allow the worst of us to rule over us. I digress. Ministers, they changed some of them. Betty Edu, what did they say she did? We didn't see her again. Whether she's working behind the scenes, those things can happen. We don't know. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their job. Hey, Mr. Jagun, welcome. Greetings to you. A lot of people lost their jobs. Okay? The poverty level in Nigeria skyrocketed. Okay? Insecurity at its highest in Nigeria. A lot of people are abducted. A lot of lives lost. We don't have an exact count. So whatever count we're getting, right, is just, just to throw it out there. But we've lost millions of people in Nigeria. A lot of people, Japa syndrome, people have left that country. We don't know who's left. We don't know the accurate number of people left in the country as we speak. Tribal sentiments weaponized to the highest degree. People became very, very highly intolerant of each other. Okay? No, one tribe doesn't want to back down for the other doesn't want to back down for the other. We saw it at the highest, most distasteful level in Nigeria. Is it coming down any soon? I don't know. Because I saw an article recently, I think it was Yoruba Conservative, where they sent a message to their governors or their leaders saying that anyone who doesn't have a Yoruba wife or a Yoruba spouse, they will not vote the person in. And also they will check where the mother of the governor comes from. If anybody were to tell me to define self-destruction in one word, that would be the example I would use, because that is self-destruction right there, because it doesn't make sense. A lot of us live outside of the country where, people talk about racism, oh, because I'm black, oh, this and that and the other. And here you are in your own country where we're supposed to leverage on each other's strengths and help each other with their weaknesses. We're tearing each other apart. Tribalism. How that will work, I don't know, because nobody decides and knows which direction their life is going to go. So I say to the Yoruba conservatives, you people are carrying fire on top of your laps. You have no idea. That's not how life works. Most of you, if we were to do a DNA test, you find out that you are not even Yoruba. Last. I digress. Ethnic tension, even the government officials too were weaponizing it. We saw official government handles whipping up this tribal sentiment to the highest degree, mostly from our southwestern brothers and sisters. It has been terrible. Honestly, personally, I've been very ashamed. As somebody who grew up in Ibadan and did not see that side, did not have any, I had the most amazing experience growing up in Ibadan. So to see how low, it's a shame. It's a real shame. National grid kept collapsing. I lost count of the number of times the national grid collapsed. I really did. Maybe 4 times, maybe 5, or maybe more. I don't know. But yes. So a lot of people did not have lights on many occasions during 2024. Now, I don't know what, there's so many things that happened in 2024 that I can't really quite remember. Those are the things that I remembered and I was able to take down. And of course, I lifted some from social media as well. Now, I don't know. I personally don't have any hopes for this, T-Pain's government, because they're talking about Islamization, all of that. The only thing I would say is every Nigerian needs to come together and push against this Islamization agenda that they are pushing. And pay attention. Person when they cry, they see. These people have other ulterior motives. As they're pushing this, they're also pushing things behind the scenes that you cannot see. Allegedly, they said that there's a French base in the north, but they've come out to deny it. And the Nigerian president has doubled down. Now, we don't know for a fact, what's really going on. But I don't know. With the T-Pain government, you can't really trust, because they've denied so many things in the past, right? Give it some time, it plays out. We all see it for ourselves. Okay. Also, something about the INEC chairman. Till today, we don't know the truth. We don't know. I haven't seen anything. If anybody has seen something, let me know in the comment section. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know. If you ask me, I think Nigerians missed a golden opportunity in 2023 to really, really get what they want. But right now, I don't know what's going to unearth the gargoyle that you have, there. I don't know. I will continue to do my part. I will continue to come out here and sensitize people. Whoever wants to hear can hear. If you don't want to hear, that's okay. At least it's out there. At least I'm doing my part. It really no concern me who come listen and who no come listen. That's not what I'm about. I'm going to put my own 2 cents out there for whoever is willing to receive it. As a people, I would hope, and I have to say, I think one of the positives. I'm glad I remembered now. One of the positive things that I see coming, that I see happen in 2024 is the consciousness of the people in Nigeria have improved. I have to say that, because that was clear and that was evident in the situation with Dele Farotimi. The people that cut across different parts of Nigeria, that pushed and ensured that man did not just disappear before our eyes. I would say, based on that, seeing that, and observing everyone in the social media space really push to make sure that he comes out of there safe, I have to give it to Nigerians. But I want us to increase that consciousness to the next level, because we have a country to save. We have a future to save. It's now on us to do. We must do the work that needs to be done to deliver a sane country to the children that you people are leaving behind. Unless you want to hand over chaos to them and you will be okay with that, then no problem. I'm only one person. I can only do so much. Okay? So that's all, really. That's all I wanted to say for the 2024 review. I'm hoping for a miracle. I'm hoping against hope for something drastic to happen that will change the trajectory that Nigeria is going on right now. That Nigeria is on right now. That's what I'm hoping for. Do I see anything that will radically move in that direction? Not right now. I don't see it, right? And I'm hoping that a lot more of us will do what we need to do, play our own role to ensure that we deliver a sane country. That's it. That's all I have to say. I'm not going to be here long here. As you can tell from my voice, I need to go give myself a break. But I had promised that I was going to come out here, and I have fulfilled my part of the promise. If you have any thoughts and anything to add to what I just presented, please feel free to leave it in my comment section, and I will see you on my next live. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me. I appreciate you all. Onwards and forwards for all of us. The best of everything is what I wish all of us. Have a wonderful rest of a day. For those that have already woken up, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye.